Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Pema. Today I would like to explain you about Kargyud tradition. Kargyud tradition is one of the oldest school of Tibetan Buddhism. Tibetan Buddhism is the very wide and bright spread in Tibet, also Mongol, and in other parts of Himalayan regions, etc. It's really nowadays noticeable everywhere you go. Everywhere, all over the world, you can see many Tibetan centers and Buddhist monks and Buddhist followers who are practicing Kargyud tradition. So first of all, it's very important to know how Kargyud tradition started in Tibet as well as Himalayan regions and then all over the world. So now directly go to the point. My point, today in general I want to talk about the Kargyud tradition. Specifically, I would like to talk about the Drukpa Kargyud tradition, how Drukpa Kargyud started in Tibet, in Bhutan, and all over the world. So what is Kargyud? So it's very important, what does it mean literally? Kargyud means a stream of words, a kind of whisper, a kind of knowledge which carries on, centuries carried by masters, lamas, monks, over the centuries, many centuries, let's say. And now, what is the definition of Kargyud? There are some general definitions of Kargyud. Kargyud means the teaching taught by the great Mahasiddha Tilopa. Tilopa was an Indian, and Tilopa, I don't go much details about all these biographies. I just want to tell in a short, because I have to tell you a lot about all these great siddhas and masters. So Tilopa existed in India around 988 to 1069. 988, between 988 and 1069. In this period of time he was existed once in India and lived a life of great master. So Tilopa is Tilopa. Tilopa means who make the oil out of sesame oil. So his family's profession was to make oil out of sesame and then to sell it, because he didn't follow his father's food to sell these things, but he really followed the path of spiritual. So he had many great masters. So let's say, so the teaching and the enlightenment teaching which he received from his masters, and he had given it to many other followers, especially his main follower or disciple Naropa. So Naropa was also Indian and a master, great master. So his main disciple was Naropa. So he gave his all teachings to Naropa. So there is a teaching between two persons, and then Naropa gave it to Marpa and other disciples of Tibet. So it carries on. So this carrying of teachings one by one, person to person, the pith instruction or the essence of the yogi lineage or essence of the Mahasiddha or yogic lineage to carry out, or this kind of carrying one by one, life to life, and this is called Kargyud. So kind of a stream of carriers of this teaching by person, so that means Kargyud. So you hopefully you understood what I mean, the first definition. And the second definition, let's say the teaching not only remained in India. When it started, let's say 9th century or 10th century to 11th century, in 10th to 11th century, when it started, it was only available in India, not in other parts of the world. So but later on in, let's say 11th century, then this teaching went to Tibet, or this teaching by Marpa went to Tibet and gave it to his disciple. The main disciple was Milarepa and Gampopa. So the main student of or disciple of Milarepa was Gampopa, who carried this very pith instruction of Marpa or Naropa, and gave it to other great beings like Gampopa and so on. As you see, so the streams of teaching careers happen in Tibet. So Gampopa till to today's masters, today's Kargyud masters, it is passed on, person to person, in Tibet, very Tibet, until the late let's say 20th century, it carried on. so that kind of passing on, or just say the stream of teaching flowing master to master, is called Kargyud. Kargyud. So it's kind of streaming, So you understood, hopefully. It's quite difficult, but hopefully you understood what I meant. So that is the other explanation. And the second definition, let's say second definition is that the teaching, this teaching, very teaching of Naropa, or let's say Kargyud tradition, widely spread in Tibet. So there are many branches of schools sprung out and like scattered all over the Tibet and Himalayan region. So one of the main carrier of or patriarch of this lineage was Drukpa lineage. So in Drukpa lineage, the first great master was Tsangpa Gyere. So Tsangpa Gyere is around 12th century to early 13th century. So he lived not very long time, but he lived during this, it said 1161 to 1211. So during this period he existed. So he and his reincarnations, or the Drukpa Kargyud tradition holders, who let's say describe Kargyud bit differently. And they say that the lineage which holds purely the practice of primordial nature of mind, and in their lineage is called Kargyud, who practice the primordial nature of mind is called Kargyud. They practice really the innate nature of human being, or sentient being. So who really deeply understood the Buddha's message and practices. So that's called the second definition. Let's say second definition. The third definition is very simple. Also, it is kind of general explanation. One more explanation. Let's say the masters, the Kargyud masters, after receiving the 6 narrow yogas and Mahamudra teachings and all this, they go for a hermitage, and they lived in mountains and snow mountains, or rocky mountains, or whatever, and they practice it very seriously and intentionally. They are dedicated, and they never come back. They practiced maybe whole life there, and they mastered the 6 yogas, or let's say Mahamudra. So they used to wear white clothes, white cotton shawls. Let's say we wear shawls like this. Tibetan monk used to wear shawls, and also other sadhus and yogis who wear just cotton cloth, only cotton cloth. Let's say a shawl, cover their body. They have nothing. They have shorts, let's say spiritual kind of shorts, and then on that, top of that, they used to wear this white cotton scarf or white cotton cloth. So it's very simple garment, let's say, and they don't need much. They are satisfied with that kind of cloth. So that is how this other name was started. Kargyud means Kar is white, and Gyu means the lineage. So in the lineage, who the masters wear white shawls are called Kargyud masters. So it's quite simple, So I hope you understood these 3 kinds of definitions, hopefully, and thank you so much for listening to me, and hopefully you understood. Thank you very much.